In this guide, I'm going to be showing you basically a strategy for your first week of playing. So, one thing you have to keep in mind is your resources are going to be extremely low. And sometimes when you have things coming in, you need to play some games as far as spending resources. So the reason that I went ahead and bought some archers real quick was because I had a raid coming in with 1,600 each, and that would have put me over my limit. So for the first week, until you get your reserves built up, you're going to have to do a little bit of juggling. So to start out the guide, basically I want to show you some ways that you never hit your limit, or you limit the amount of times that you hit your limit. Because whenever you hit your limit, you can't accept any more, and being fully at your limit is almost as bad as being completely zeroed out, because basically it's time wasted. Until you get back under the limit, you can't you bring in any more resources, and it's completely time wasted. And for your first week, you need to basically hit it really hard and try to get up in the levels as quickly as possible. So I'm about 5 days in, so I figured this would be a good time to do a quick overview and show you where I'm at now and how I got there. So if you're just now starting with the Untamed Lands side of Stormfall, then hopefully it's going to help you out a little bit. And if you're starting the game from scratch generally, then this will give you some good overviews as far as how to build up real quick, how to get in the 30s or 40s within the first week, and you get the most out of the time that you have. So since I started out talking about resources, I want to show you a few tricks that I do, so that way I'm not hitting limits, and I usually have enough resources available to build up the next thing that I'm doing. So if you go by the quests, if you stay with it, usually it's going to serve you pretty well. But there's going to be times that your resources are going to get ahead of your warehouse or your barn. So for example, the current quest is to build up the townhouses, but with the warehouse at level 8, and actually went ahead, um, it's only at 7150, which is about 8150 total for my reserves. So that means that right now I'm 90% full, and that's with buying the archers I just did when that raid was coming back. So as far as townhouses or mines, I usually stay with the quest, mainly because you're getting an extra 50 experience points with that. And same thing with like the market or the House of Scrolls, that kind of thing. Just stay with the quest, and then that way you end up getting 100 experience points instead of 50. One thing I'm not sure about, and I don't know if it's something on this side of the game or a glitch, whatever, but in the Lost Arts, I've been building it up, but in the main game, there's quests to build everything up, and I haven't received one. The only quest that I got was like when I first discovered things, it would give me a quest to buy some archers or buy some dwarves, whatever. So it kind of sucks that those quests haven't come in, because that means with each time that I've upgraded, I'm actually throwing away 50 experience points because I haven't had a quest to go against. So, but anyway, As far as getting the most out of what you have, um, with your gold and your iron, that's going to be the most important things. And I have a little bit of a bonus right now since Paragon's going on. So speaking of Paragon, I'll start there when it comes to resources. Basically, I use Paragon more like a bank than anything. So whenever you you do one of the little quests, you don't have to claim it right then. Yeah, as you can see, I have all these quests that are ready to be claimed. The reason I haven't yet is because my resources are so close to the max. If I claim those, then I would either max out or be forced to you know, buy some troops or upgrade to the Lost Art, whatever. And I don't want to be in that position. So I have 2.5 hours before the new quest comes in. So basically, that means I have 2.5 hours before I have to claim all the rewards. Now, you don't have to have everything claimed before it resets, but I think it goes off of the total amount. So if you have three things that haven't been claimed yet, I think that's going to deduct 3 from the reset. I'm not positive with that, but anyway, yeah, I try to keep everything claimed for the reset, unless it's something large. So, like on some of the other accounts, some like the Class 4 quest, those will be like 12, 14,000 resources, and I'll just let them chill in the bank for a bit until I actually need them. I've also noticed since they set up the new server, the game itself is a little bit more glitchy. So, like full screen, that kind of stuff, flash crashes a little bit more. So it could also depend on the browser or other factors, but just something that I've noticed. So anyway, getting back into resources and getting the most of it. There's times that you're going to need more iron or more gold, whatever. And even if you're staying within the quest, like for example, the current quest is to upgrade from 7 to 8. That doesn't mean that you can't go ahead and upgrade some of the others. What I usually end up doing is, since, sorry for the disruption there, but back to what I was getting at. For resources in the townhouses and the mines, you can go ahead and go on up with individual as long as you do a max of 3. And then that way, when it's time for the quest to come back around, basically you just have 1 to do, and you still get the extra 50 experience points. Now, one thing that I do that most people don't, but I found it works better in the long run. So let's say right now the quest is to go from 7 to 8. As long as I have the resources, I'll go ahead and upgrade as far as I can, because to go from 7 to 8, it's an hour and 50 minutes, but whenever you go from 9 to 10, it's almost 5 hours. So if I have the resources available, then I'll go ahead and upgrade as far as I can, and then that way, whenever I'm not going to be in the game, then I can be using that time when I'm away. So I'll get at least 1 or 2 of each set ready. So that way, whenever I'm going to be stepping away, like if I'm going to bed, whatever, then I can go ahead and set one of the longer ones to go. So in the first week, you're not going to be that high with anything, but if you have 1 or 2 that are 1 or 2 levels above everything else, then for one, the return is usually going to be better. When you get to a certain point, like with the houses or the mines, you're only going to go up 20 resources at a time. But like for the farms, for example, um, you're going to go up 90 or 100 at a time, whatever. So speaking of the farms, that's an area where you you don't have as much leeway as you do with the houses and mines, because it's really going to go off of your troops. Like right now, 564 production on the ham, and then the rest is in the 650s. So it's not too far away, as far as same production as the rest. But there for a while, my production dropped all the way down to like under 100, just because I was building troops. So with the townhouses and the mines, you're able to upgrade those individually and call it a day. With the mines, if you're running low on food, or you say you got some troops in, whatever, and they're eating up everything, then what I'll do is I'll sacrifice some troops to the Stormfall gods. So I'm still getting experience points, but also it's going to help with the gambling wheel, pretty much, as far as getting better troops back. So if my ham is getting low, or say for example I'm going for upgrading to the 10 and I need 7,500, well, I'm going to max out with the other two before I get to the food. So what I'll do is come into the battlegrounds, and you'll see the little level where it's halfway. Basically, I've already got it to the point where I only need to send a couple troops and I'll win that one. But throughout, you'll see them like that, where they're halfway. And the reason I'm doing that is because basically I'm depositing troops into each of the battlegrounds. That's really just to get my food production back up. So if I have some extra pikes or other low level troops, then just to get my production back up, I'll go down and grab the pikes and send in a raid. Now I know that I'm not going to win the battleground, but by sacrificing those to the grounds, I know that's going to give me an extra 15 production on food. So same thing with the defensive units. If I have a lot of archers, then I know 13 is not a lot, but I'm just saying, I can send in some archers, and that's with the quantity. I can tell that's going to give me an extra 13. So I'm going to send 10 just because I like to keep a few for sieges and that kind of thing. So just by sacrificing some archers and pikes, that just bumped up my production to 25 as soon as those go through. So there's a lot of little things that you can do like that until you get your reserves up, where you're not hitting the limits and you're getting the most out of your time and the resources you have available. So I don't want this video to be too long, but I'll go ahead and mention a few other things. So with the Obelisk of Power, a lot of times people ask, which are the most important. Usually I'll go straight down the middle and just do the absolute bare minimum to get down to the next, and just go straight down the middle, because the returns on everything up until the Warlock, it's really not worth it. So, for example, say you want to cut down your build time of the archers. Well, even if you get that all the way to level 40, you're only going to be shaving off 23 seconds of the actual build time. So I mean, that's a lot of resources and a lot of time waiting, and you're not going to get anything out of it. So what I do is I'll go straight down the middle until I get to this tier here. Um, so basically, as soon as you unlock Necromancer speed, then you'll see this row right here. So you basically look for the stars. Those are the ones that are going to actually help out. So as soon as I unlock the Necromancer speed, then the one that actually start building up is combat experience. So that basically means that you're going to get a few more experience points whenever you're doing stuff. That's going to help you level up a little bit more. As soon as I get experience points to level 40, then I'll start knocking out the food consumption. So with food consumption 80 and then combat experience 40, that right there is 120 runes. So that right there is going to last you till you're level 50. So from that point, if you're doing some stuff with the league, you might want to start doing like darkening costs and that kind of stuff. But as far as cutting down build time, I would wait till you can at least start at the golem. So the golem is actually going to cut off a few minutes of the build time, which almost makes it worth it. Or you can keep going down until you're down in this level. But as far as building speed, I wouldn't even bother with that. I would only be getting into build time after you do your food consumption and your combat experience, and then anything down in this area as far as build time, that's when it actually gets worth it. So like personally on the main account, I did build time, and then I came straight down to like Wyvern and Undead Dragon, that kind of stuff, because when you get down to this level, that's when your build time is tremendous. I mean, you're talking a couple hours just to build one troop. So to knock off 10% of that, then you're talking minutes instead of just shaving off a few seconds. So that's when it actually becomes worth it. So hopefully that helps in the Obelisk of Power part. Okay, as far as some of the dailies, I'll check my crypt. You just see if I have souls left, and then I'll go into the keep, check my fiefs, and I'll go ahead and collect if I have the resources. And while I'm here, I'll go ahead and mention, like right now, there's a quest going on where you have to do 27 or higher. So that's why they're all in 28, 29. As far as the ones down here, I always keep several in reserve, because especially the higher up you go with the levels, that's basically announcing to everybody else, hey, this is a weak castle, and all the defenses are already down. Come and raid me. So a lot of times people get their jollies off just by raiding a castle that's been sieged, because they know that there's hardly any defense, and it's going to be a lot easier to collect the resources. But having said that, one thing that I do is I'm not sure where they are close by. Maybe they've already been gobbled up. But anyway, in general, I'll go ahead and have 3 fiefs real close by me, but those aren't the ones that I'll collect from ever. Basically, those are just decoys. So if somebody gets pissed off at me, or I take over one of their sieges, or take over a settlement, whatever, if they're leagued, they're not going to be attacking me directly, so they'll take it out on my fiefs. So I would rather them kill off some of the decoys, thinking that they're actually hurting me, versus I'm taking one that I'm actually collecting on. So usually the ones that I actually collect from, those are usually a half hour away. Sometimes even an hour away. That way, someone's not going to be able to come to my castle and immediately see the ones that I'm collecting from, especially the ones that I'm collecting, really well. Just like, these that are, decoys, 40, 50, whatever, but then the ones that I'm actually collecting, 200, 250, whatever. And then whenever those people are no longer active, and then the per hour drops down to 50, 60, then I'll go on a hunt again to find someone that has been more active, and get the resources back up. So, but the main reason why I'm doing more gold than iron is because even though this is an offensive game, the key to it is your defense. So when you are doing the battlegrounds, when you're doing defense, you can see exactly how many troops you're up against and what it's going to take to kill it off. With the offense, basically you're going blind. So this is the offense, and basically it just says, whatever you sent, this is how many it killed. But as soon as you go into defense, it's going to say, out of how many, and then that way you can do some math to see what it's going to take to actually take that battleground. So, but as far as overview, hopefully that helps get you started. But in general, it all comes down to resources. So, like even with the altar, I have it, but I haven't even started to upgrade it yet, just because it's going to take an entire day to upgrade to get 5%. And when your resources are only 600-700, 5% on top of that isn't really going to amount to much. But whenever you get 1,500, 2,000, that kind of thing, then 5% is a whole lot. So your rule of thumb, even though at level 28 you can get the altar, you just let it hang out until you get your houses and your mines to at least level 10, all of them, or at least the ones you're building up. Once you get beyond that point, then it's worth taking a day from building and start getting your percentages up. So what I do is, if I have a day building the altar, then that's when I'll go into the Lost Arts and start focusing there and get everything up to 20. Okay, while I'm here, I'll go ahead and mention your pikes, your archers, and your silent ones. Those are the key 3 troops. So before you upgrade anything else, get these to level 20. That way you're going to get the absolute max effect from all 3. I also build up the brand seal, just because even though the dwarves are extremely slow, your time and resource wise, they actually come out about the same as composite bow. And whenever you're doing the dwarves, you're you're a little bit more even when it comes to the gold iron ratio. When you're doing just the archers, then you're going to use a whole lot of gold and just a little bit of iron and ham. So whenever I need to try to even it out a little bit, then I'll do dwarves instead of archers. But yeah, even though it might not seem like it, the archers and the pikes are the two absolute best troops that you can build, period. So even when you get up to knights or even further down the line, um, I won't build anything else except for these right here. The only exception to that is whenever I get to occult arts, then I'll start building golems after that's at level 20, and also Alliance of Tribes. So that way I can build up the barbarians. But unless I'm building those, then I won't build anything else. Just because even though you think an archer is the smallest thing and not worth the time or money, whatever, if you do the math, um, archers are actually more resource for the money than golems are, and is like less amount of time and more defense. So until you're at the point where the others are at level 20, I wouldn't even focus on building any type of troop, regardless if you have the ability or not, until you have it to level 20, so that way you have the impact, but mainly focus on the archers. So just to go into the units real quick. Okay, so I try to always keep some archers building, but the pikes and the archers are the main things that are always building, and then the only time that I go into cavalry or cult or bestiary is for the queue, and that's it. So if I don't have the resources for say 200-300 archers, then I don't even think about building anything else. But since you can only build a few hundred archers or pikes a day, then that's when I'll start building some nomads or barbarians just to have an additional build queue. And then once I have that completely done, then I'll go into a cult and build up the golems and sometimes the demons. And then once you go beyond that, then if you have plenty of resources, then you might want to build up some griffins and that kind of thing when you get to that point. But unless you have the queue completely build up for the day for the first three, then I wouldn't even waste the time or the money on griffins or anything bestiary. So the rule of thumb that I use anyway is I'll fill up infantry for the day, and then if I have anything left over, I'll go to cavalry, and then occult, and go on from there. So just remember, left to right, fill up the queue for the day, and you're only going to the next one for an additional build queue, and that's it. So, but as far as resource for the money, archers and pikes are the absolute best. So for offense, defense, just focus on those and get those to level 20 before you even start on anything else. Well, plus in bestiary you have the silent ones, so you make sure to get those to level 20. And a quick tip on the silent ones, if you need to build those up real quick, if you go into feats of valor, battles, and you look at your spy missions, so I'm not going to do it with 168, but let's just say that I wanted to claim that 50 real quick. what you can do, and this also, really messes with people's minds when they see it too. Um, you can just send them back to back. So every time that you send one, that's going to bring your count down. So yeah, if you only have, say, 20 to go or whatever, just send them one or two at a time, back to back. Plus, it really freaks people out when all they see is their, see you spying, especially if it's been sieged or whatever. And considering that guy is a lot higher than me, I probably shouldn't have done it on that one. But anyway, just so you don't think something's up, I'll go ahead and cancel those out so he don't try to do stuff on me. So, but anyway, that's one way that you can get some of those other quests real quick. So since this is going to be a strategy guide for the first week, I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to include before I shut it down. And I know it's already over a half hour, and I didn't want it to be this long. So there's going to be some individual videos on like raids or settlements, that kind of thing. So I'm not going to touch into those. But for the first week, it's mainly about getting your level up, because until you get to like level 35, you're vulnerable. And regardless if you're leagued or not, you're going to have some problems. But if you get above 35, then most people are going to leave you alone, just because they know that even if they're 10 levels above you, you're still going to have enough resources to at least cause them some pain, and then they'll usually leave you alone. But since for the first couple of days nobody can touch you, during that time, don't send raids or anything like that, because anybody that you hit can retaliate. So during that time, just build up resources and get everything up as quick as you can, so that way whenever you lose your bubble and people can attack you, you're hopefully going to be high enough in the level that people, you won't want to risk it. So you just for good measure though, if you don't have the money for building a lot of troops, what you might want to do is go ahead and build as many silent ones as you can. And that's another reason why you want to get those level 20, and you do the little trick I showed as far as getting the mission. So if you've only got the first mission, to get to the second one real quick, you can just send out 20 spies real quick to get the bonus. But you always want to keep at least 25 silent ones in your castle, even if you have everything else in catacombs. So that way, if someone sends some spies, and usually people will send 5, 10, whatever, you always want the spy to fail. So basically it's a good deterrent. Especially if someone's going to do a spy first, because if they send 10 spies and it fails, and they send 5 more and it fails, then they're going to think that you have a lot of resources backing you up. And it don't always work, but many times just having spies is enough to deter people from sending an attack or anything like that. But just to wrap up real quick, as far as resources, with the houses and the mines, build those up as quick as you can, and you can do them out of order, as long as you do at most 3 a level up, so that way you can still collect the extra 50 to build up the 4th one. For the warehouse and the barn, if you can do it in the set, where you're going in the rounds, level 7, level 8, that kind of thing. cool, get the extra 50 points. But if you're going to get to the point where you're over, 60%, over 50% of resources on your warehouse or your barn, then go ahead and upgrade those. So that way, if you're going to step away for a few hours or you're going to bed, whatever, when you come back, you're not hitting your limit. Plus, another thing to keep in mind is, like right now, I'm 92% full. That means half of all my resources are vulnerable. So if a raid would come in, then they're able to take anything over 50%. So that's another thing to keep in mind. You always want to stay under 50. So that's one of the reasons why I really don't care where the quest is. I'll build up the warehouse or the barn as needed. So that way, even if I go to bed and I come back 8 hours later, my resources are always under 50%. That way, if someone does send in a raid, they're not going to get anything. So, but anyway, hopefully this helps, and I'm going to go ahead and cut this off. Sorry that it was a little long, but hopefully it's going to help you, and hopefully you can see like how in the first week you can get to level 40 or above. Because like I said, I'm 5 days into it, and I'm 38, and I was set back a little bit because I did a novice move and didn't put all my troops in catacombs and ended up getting wiped out. So that actually set me back a day, which is one of the reasons why I went ahead and bought some sapphires, which I hated doing, but I had to do some quick healing. So, but anyway, in the first week, it's crucial get to 35, 40, so that way people will leave you alone, and then from there you can take your time or build up as quick as you want to. But hopefully this video will at least help you get to that point. Till next time, take care.